Oh, I'm all shook up. Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. It's a podcast.
Was that Elvis or was that Goofy? I'm not sure.
I'm all shook up. That was a poor Goofy. I do a better Goofy than that. Ugh, get my shit together. It's a podcast where we overanalyze all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Richter Scale.
I'm one of your hosts, Goofy Presley.
Today we're talking about earthquakes. Chris's camera just started shaking. I don't know if another one just hit the LA area. Yeah, hey, we got things to say.
That's so true.
But before we say those things, Chris,
Yeah,
I would love to know how you're doing.
I'm doing all right. Look, this is going to be obviously a more Southern California heavy episode.
Oh yeah,
given the main topic of earthquakes, and my how you doing story is also going to be Southern California related.
He went to In-N-Out.
I did go to an LA institution. I'm talking, of course, about keys on Van Nuys. For anybody who doesn't know, that's the jingle for a collection of car dealerships in the Van Nuys area.
I've heard the jingle. I've heard the commercial. I did not realize it was a car lot or whatever. I thought it was keyboards or something. Or
no,
pianos.
it is a collection of car dealerships, all with all. I don't know if they're all owned by someone named Keys, but they are all car dealerships. It's funny that you say that because you're obviously familiar with the jingle. Mm-hmm. And had no idea what it was for. And my wife, who's lived in Southern California most of her life, was unfamiliar with both the jingle and the existence of this area in Van Nuys, and was truly baffled when I was explaining it as if it were a common knowledge thing. But I mentioned many months ago that my car had active recalls that
yes.
It was super important you get this in right away, but the dealership closest to you will only accept appointments starting, months in advance. Like 3 months ahead of time is the earliest we can get you in for this immediate action that has to be taken on your vehicle. So I eventually decided I'm going to drive even further to the LA institution, keys on Van Nuys.
Yes.
And get it fixed there. I had an 11:15 appointment. Drive out there. I sit in the line waiting to get up to the front service person. And it's a weird system that they have. They appear to have, at full capacity, they would have 3 lanes open. On the day I went, there were only 2 lanes open. Just trying to get people through. If you made your appointment like you're supposed to, then they can go through. But if you didn't, then we slow everybody else in the line down because now we have to figure out why you're bringing your car through the service line.
Why are you here?
Exactly. I'm probably 6 or 7 cars back if you're zigzagging across the 2 lines. So I have my window down because I want to listen to what's going on.
Of course.
And I think by the time we get through those first 4 or 5 cars, they get to the next car that's in front of me and they're like, all right, our first official appointment. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I sat waiting for them to take my car for an hour and a half. So they took that car at about 12:45. The other reason that it was taking so long is that, the heat especially, I think, this is my theory, is that the heat really brings the Karen out of people. You know,
True.
hot days in the summertime,
Mm.
and you know, old Karens are getting out of their cars behind me, and they're like, I just can't take this anymore. And so then they try to, you know, uh, accommodate these other people who are making a big old fuss, not necessarily taking them in front of the rest of us who are waiting, but definitely slowing the whole process down as they try to reorganize and make sure nobody else yells at them.
You love to see a Karen in the wild just lashing out until they're happy again.
Yeah, in fact, and this I'll elaborate more on this story in the next episode
Oh,
because I saw Karen's back to back this weekend. This car
whoa.
dealership story was at the was on Friday, and on Saturday I went to Phoenix and went to a baseball game uh,
Oh.
at Chase Field, formerly Bank One Ballpark. Um, and I don't know if you know this, but Phoenix in August, common knowledge, it's gonna be hot as fuck.
Yeah.
But he's a dry heat,
Yeah.
and everybody's waiting in line to get into the stadium, and people are complaining like it's too hot out here for us to be waiting. I have a child in a stroller. I need to get in first. And for the most part, most of the employees were like, "Yeah, suck it up." Like everybody has to wait. But just the baffling nature of Karens in the wild, even
Mm,
though they're a known species at this point, lots of
yeah.
studies have been done. It still just doesn't quite compute in my brain. um,
There's something to everybody gets their news and information social cues from different places nowadays. I think it's just that the term Karen became so widespread. We all know what it means, right? And
right?
if you acted a certain way and heard about that term, wouldn't you go like, that sounds like the way I act a lot. Is that bad? Let me think about that. And that's not the case. And I wonder, are Karens aware of the term Karen? Are they just in a completely different world?
I promise you they're aware of it, and I promise you that they see it as a slur. I don't think it's offensive.
Nah, I've met enough people in my life that are just like, hey, I'm an asshole. I don't care. You got to
Yeah,
put up with me at my worst if you want me at my best, which is not very good.
and rarely happens.
Yeah. Here, rare in the wild, we see a Karen at her best.
Yeah. Lots of people proudly proclaim that being mean is okay as long as
Yeah.
they're the ones doing it. Anyway, Evan, I hope that you have a nice little story
I,
to
I think
make
I do.
to wholesome up this episode about earthquakes. Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing tired. I'm very
I'm
underslept
doing
today.
tired.
I'm doing tired. I don't have caffeine, so I'm not wired. That's another. Well, am I telling the truth? I'm not liared.
That for me, that one didn't work, so you're fired.
Well, now I'm feeling inspired. This I don't even have. I don't have a story. I have a thing I forgot to talk about last week that felt way too important. A thing I discovered about Academy Awards hosts of
Ooh.
years past. Because I was looking up, in the first place, I was doing my research, looking up a list of everyone who's ever hosted. And you get a list up to a certain, like when you're looking at Academy Award history, oh, who won this? In history, it's like, oh, well, that category. That category didn't exist until 30 years into the event. This didn't
Right.
exist until later in the event. So they hosts, there's a bit of a cutoff where it's like, no one hosted for years. The host wasn't a thing, but then someone hosted, but we don't really remember who it was. It was just someone who worked at the Academy, shit like that. So I was looking up the worst hosts, what were considered the worst hosts of all time, so I could put that part of my list together.
Of course.
And one of the, I'll say, people who came up on that list of the worst hosts of all time is from 1958. And that person is Donald Duck.
That rules. I know that it says one of the worst hosts, and I can understand
That's
why.
where I'm at too.
I can understand why that would be received poorly. However, if Donald Duck had been in our bracket, I would have taken him far.
Absolutely.
Probably wouldn't have won. Maybe, depending on what seed, might not have made it to the Final Four. But Elite Eight, probably.
Yeah. Hey, Donald Duck or Taylor Tomlinson.
Ooh.
Might be Donald Duck. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. Because look, we don't have to litigate this right now,
We
but
don't have to.
obviously the Donald Duck voice can be difficult to parse through.
Yeah.
But
Did he say Moonlight or was that La La Land?
exactly. And that's, we wouldn't know what it was for sure. All the awards would be contested. But yeah, hey, if it was like, we had Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes. If we had Mickey, Goofy, and Donald as the hosts,
Oh, yeah.
I'm on board. I'm in.
We had Regina Hall, Wanda Sykes, and Donald Duck.
Yeah, I'm in again. I'm
That's a
still in.
winner.
Yeah.
So, all this to say, we talked a lot about logistics with the Muppets and how that might be tough. The fact that in 1958 they fucking tried to have Donald Duck, he co-hosted, to be fair, with a group of people that is unknown. Jack Lemmon was one of them, I think. But all we have, there's no footage of this happening. It seems to be one of those old Hollywood things that people don't like to talk about. So there's very little you can find. All we have is this drawing from what looks like a TV guide. Yeah, TV guide previews. We got our Donald Duck and these people.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I guess it's like a caricature. It's not,
Yeah,
but it's just it's such a different design of Donald Duck than I'm used to seeing. So,
how do you approach doing a caricature of a cartoon?
Yeah, it's interesting too. I guess like if they were to do that now,
yeah,
they would get roasted so hard. As excited as you and I would be to see that, the public at large would be furious.
And this is...
I think they'd also... Bad. We didn't talk about this then, and I'm sure that we'll talk about whatever you really wanted to talk about in a second, but I think maybe that would happen too if they chose the Muppets.
Yeah.
If I think the public as a whole would be like, Disney just, trying to force more of their branding down our throats.
Yeah.
No, the true. Muppets are fun.
The Muppets are fun. That is all I wanted to talk about.
Oh, great.
I just wanted to say
we did it.
I really, really, really wanted to talk about that last week and completely forgot. We got so wrapped up in those brackets.
Yeah. I mean, they have done animated spots before.
Yeah.
When Seth MacFarlane hosted, I think they cut to like Stewie and Brian in the seats from of Family Guy fame.
I think.
And I believe when
Buzz and Woody,
maybe Buzz and Woody have been there. I believe when Shrek won Best Animated Feature, I think Shrek and Donkey are in the theater.
You love to see it.
Maybe even James P. Sullivan and Mike Wazowski were there. I can't remember if they did something for um, all of the animated movies that were nominated that first year. But I do believe Shrek was there.
All I know, I believe Shrek
Why hasn't
was there.
Shrek been back? You know,
That's a great question.
even the years he doesn't have a movie out.
He didn't slap anybody.
Yeah, sometimes Meryl Streep doesn't have a movie out, but she's at the ceremony. Why not Shrek?
Why not Shrek? He's got a movie coming out sometime soon.
Yeah, in the next year or two. Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Have him announce Best Picture.
I like it. It would really shake things up at the Oscars.
Yes, it would.
Speaking of Hollywood's biggest night, Hollywood's
biggest fright.
Hollywood's biggest fright is getting excommunicated from the country by fault lines, shaking and a moving and a grooving. Chris, you experienced, I'm going to guess, a couple of earthquakes in the past couple of weeks.
It's true. Yeah, there was one on Monday, 2 days ago, as of when we're recording this. There was one very close to me about 2 days ago. And then the week before, there was another one that was further away. But we've been getting little jolts. It used to be, you'd maybe get like one or two a season. And now we're getting some, a weekly release schedule. And, it's weird because it sure seems like everyone that I know, even though you hear, hey, the big one's coming,
right?
It could be any moment we could all be involved in a violent earthquake. But whenever one happens, it sure seems like everybody's just like, whatever, write it out.
Yeah.
And make sure I go to x.com and tweet earthquake. Did anybody else feel that? Which is something I find extremely annoying.
If the earthquake is not quite up to the person's expectation, a picture of a water bottle on its side. Oh, the devastation from the earthquake.
Yes. Those child patio sets and one of the chairs is tilted over.
That'll do it.
The destruction of Los Angeles after that earthquake.
So I'm surprised to say felt nothing. So LA earthquakes don't seem to make it out this way, or at least this far. I mentioned a few episodes back that I experienced an earthquake up here, and that was like, oh, I don't want to be up here at all during an earthquake.
Right.
That sucks. But otherwise, I do find myself in the category of like, it takes a lot. Maybe just growing up on the West Coast and always hearing that, like, it's gonna happen. We're all just gonna die, and there's nothing you can do to prepare for it. Actually, there's some things, but if a fault line's running through your house, there's probably nothing you can do about it. Anyways, I find myself in the position of like, I am nonplussed by earthquakes. They don't bother me. I'm in the ride it out category. And maybe also that's like experiencing a very big earthquake when I was a kid. I think that was a 6.9. I don't know. I think I don't react in a big way in emergency situations, which sounds bad.
Yeah.
But I'm relatively clear-headed. I go into like task mode. My problem, and where I want to pass the baton back to you, is prepare mode has changed a lot over the years. I don't know what it is about learning something as a kid, and when they change that as you're an adult, just coming from a place of like, I don't accept that.
Yeah.
Pluto's a planet, and I'm going to get under a door jam in case of an earthquake.
Yeah, so growing up, I feel like I never learned where to go in an earthquake.
Damn.
But I feel like I had heard from something like to get into a doorway.
Yeah.
But yeah, the official instruction is to like get under a table or something like that.
Hold a table leg, hand over the back of your head. That's what I've heard.
But yeah, I mean, like one of my favorite topics to bring up on this podcast is like, I do not accept any of the food pyramids other than the one that I grew up with that says bread is like the most important thing you can eat.
Bread's the most important thing you can eat. And don't forget to get some sugar. I mean, come on.
Give yourself a little treat. Come on, baby.
It's the top of the pyramid, baby.
Yeah. You did all that hard work eating all that bread. You might as well have some ice cream.
That bread that's also chock full of sugar.
But yeah, I just, number one, I think I don't have enough tables in my apartment, I think is my big concern at this point. I have one table.
Gotta get one of those like giant art piece tables that you can stand under. That'd be good. Go to the Broad.
Yeah.
Sneak it out.
That's
Let's make a
Whenever
movie
I get
about
the
that.
text of the earthquake warning, I gotta rush over to the Broad. Hurry, let me in.
There's already like 100 people under the table. I mean, if you're there and an earthquake starts, I'm 100% running under that table. I want to make a movie about that. That would be a great heist, getting the giant table out of the Broad.
Not even to sell it or because it's worth money, but like strictly for earthquake protection.
I like it. Well, in these, since I didn't experience them in these recent earthquakes, which sounded like this one that was closer to you, was what, like a 5 point something, like up there.
Yeah, it was maybe a 4.7, but it was like 7 miles away. So it was like, it was pretty close. Yeah. And the one that was the week before, I think was like a 5.3 or whatever, but it was like an hour, or it was multiple. It was by Bakersfield, or just outside Bakersfield.
Where were you, and what, at this point in your life, what have you found your reaction to the shaking and the quaking, the ripping and the tearing?
I was at work for the one that was in Bakersfield. I was on the second story of our building in the office in a rolly chair. And so there were like 4 of us up there. You know, it starts shaking, but we're all kind of like, oh, is this an earthquake right now? You know, it had obviously started much further away. So it was, we definitely felt it, but it wasn't like, oh man, should I get under the desk right now? I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
The one that was closer to me by a considerable margin, I was here at home, lying in bed, and I was about probably 2 hours removed from the next stage of my dental implant surgery. So I've just gotten the screw put in the tooth's place. And so I was recovering from that at home, and then some violent shaking of the house. And my reaction then was, you know, I wouldn't have time to run from the bedroom into the kitchen to get under the kitchen table, of course.
Yeah.
So what I did was because I was in bed, I just kind of hesitantly curled up a little bit and then grabbed a pillow and kind of held it over my head in case there was any falling debris.
Yeah. Just pull the covers over here.
Yeah, you can't get me. Earthquake plays by monster rules.
Yeah.
Can't get me if I'm under the covers.
The earthquake's under the bed. Yeah, I don't know. I find I'm looking for the people watching on YouTube right now. That's a pretty sweet doorway behind you. And as soon as you said, like, I don't have a lot of, like, tables in my place, it just hit me, like, I 100% still would. I'm going to that doorway. And they say, like, no, don't do that. It'll collapse on you and you'll die. I say, so be it. This is how stubborn I am.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of doorways in the house.
Yeah.
So
There you go. You brought up a good point, though. That's something I wanted to talk about, which is the tough thing with earthquakes and reacting to earthquakes is at what point do you accept that an earthquake is happening? You know, sometimes they'll start a little shake.
yeah.
For some reason, my mind doesn't always leap immediately to just like, oh, that's an earthquake. It's like, oh, shit. So, did someone drop something? Is someone on the roof shimmying around? Santa Claus?
That you, Santa Claus? That's what you cry out every time an earthquake starts.
Hey, you! Hey, Santa!
I think that what my mind goes to first during, light shaking is, am I about to pass out? Like, am I dizzy? Am I about to, like, is it me kind of like the room is spinning thing? Type of deal? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's more what I jump to first.
Interesting.
Wow. Have you been in an earthquake situation where, now, they've got this new technology, Evan, that's supposed to send you a warning like, hey, earthquake a coming, depending on how close you are to the epicenter. I've received it a few times of like, hey, an earthquake's coming. It gives you just like a couple seconds to prepare, basically. But
directions to the broad.
Yeah, that's right. How much traffic there is, how much space is under the table. The one that happened when I was at work, I received my wife was here at home, and so I was about 25-minute drive closer to the epicenter of that earthquake. And so I received the alert immediately after the shaking had finished, like, hey, an earthquake's coming.
Just so you know.
But it hadn't quite reached here yet. So she got the alert and had like several seconds to brace for impact. But have you experienced this new technology?
I don't think I've ever gotten a text about an earthquake before or after. And now I'm like, what the hell? Am I not on the good list?
Do you think that Gavin Newsom thinks you're expendable?
Damn. I wouldn't like that. But you might not be wrong.
I don't know how involved Gavin Newsom is. I didn't know if you were under Karen Bass's jurisdiction still, so I had to go above her and head up to the big boss.
We're out of LA County, so yeah, Gavin be our guy. Don Rowe, I think that's our mayor. Don't quote me on that, Don. Well, as I mentioned, you asked me a question. Did I answer it?
Yeah, you did. You said you've never received.
No, yes. Okay, that's what we're talking about. I'm doing great. I got so much sleep last night. No, I've never received any of those texts, which would help with what I'm talking about. Where, yeah, having just that, even if it's like 1 second, even if it's as it just starts, I get that text, which is the whole house starts shaking. And then my phone buzzes. I'm still reaching for my phone, like, oh shit. Did someone
Oh shit!
text?
Yeah, do I have work to do?
Oh fuck.
I gotta hop on a Zoom right now with my boss.
But that would help, uh, just being able to immediately, as soon as the earthquake starts, be like, this is an earthquake, now I react to it. The big one I mentioned, which is, I guess, most of my, like, since living in California, you do experience a lot of earthquakes. But they're just very small. It'll be, expect one or two a year. Just a
Mm-hmm.
little like jostle. And I don't think too much about them. But the one when I was, I'd say preteen, I don't know, sometime in the early 2000s, 6.9 earthquake. And I was in my parents' bedroom. Me and my older sister were watching TV. I don't remember what we were watching, but that's where the TV was, because they took it for themselves. And we're like,
Greedy.
we got to watch some cartoons, Mama. So we're like laying in the bed watching TV.
Johnny Bravo was based on you, by the way, right?
I
Gotta watch some cartoons, mama.
Mama. I don't know how I completely forgot about Johnny Bravo until like it just like came up on a social feed or something less than a year ago, and I was like, oh, that was like my favorite cartoon. I fucking loved Johnny Bravo. Shit cracked me up, and now I want to watch old Johnny Bravo episodes or new Johnny Bravo. Anyways, all this to say, we're on a bed. Big ass earthquake starts up. The bed starts shaking, and my reaction is to blame it on my sister. I said, "Knock it off!" Like I yelled at her.
That's some classic sibling
Yes.
nonsense.
Which she like immediately goes into like, it's not me. Like, we gotta get up, and we went to a doorway and stood in there. So she reacted properly, but I've got that delay, and I'm like, there's no way this is an earthquake. This is my fucking sister trying to piss me
This is
off.
my sister's psychic powers.
Yes, my sister, the fire starter. Actually, that is an inside joke. She is the fire starter. I forgot that. Wow, it all comes full circle.
Wow.
Full
It
circle,
all,
babe.
I think, you know, maybe now I'm on your side. Maybe she did start that earthquake.
It could be. It could be. Wilder things have happened. I don't know. Do you get down with earthquake?
Do I get down with earthquakes?
The comedian.
What do you mean?
Do you get down with earthquake preparedness? Are you keeping extra water in your house? Granola bars, canned foods.
Not really. I don't know. I haven't checked the stash for a little while because we had some extra waters. But you know, sometimes it's like, hey, we need to bring water to this to wherever we're going. So then you dig into the stash a little bit and don't really replenish it. So I don't know how we're doing on water as far as canned food goes. We don't have a lot of that either. We have, like, I've been purchasing Quest protein bars, and have been eating those. So we have some, but like we don't have a ton.
The tough thing with that, I love that idea. You know, it's nice. It's nice to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I kind of had it in my mind. This was around the time when was it a New York Times article? There was an article that came out that like really re-upped everyone's fears about the big
Yeah.
one. That was just like, no, it's going to happen, and it might be like in the next 5 years. Meanwhile, 5 years have
Mm-hmm.
passed, and it did not happen. But around that time, they give you a list of shit you should buy and keep to be prepared. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be an idiot.
Right.
I don't want to get caught off guard by this thing. So you kind of just optimistically think like, oh, that'll be great. I'll buy a case of waters. I'll buy, some granola bars. I'll buy some canned goods. And it'll just be there forever. And what they don't tell you is bottled water goes bad at a certain point. Then you didn't drink it. It
Mm-hmm.
went bad. Fuck am I doing with it now? And it's like all the bottles start constricting because the
Yeah.
air is like the plastics get into the water. So now you just got a shit ton of water that you've got to waste and then go buy more. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a subscription idea: earthquake preparedness monthly. We just
Okay.
send out earthquake kits. Where are we getting them? We're gonna have to steal them, but profitable.
Yeah, I guess that's, I can get on board with this business idea. Every
Yeah.
so often you send out an earthquake kit, and then it tells you how long to keep it, or how long
Yeah.
before you should use it, or whatever, so that it doesn't go bad.
I like that I said monthly and you said every so often. I like that as a business model. Like,
Yeah,
we'll
whenever we
send you
feel
an
like it,
earthquake kit every so
on
often.
our timetable. You're gonna pay us every month, and we'll send it to you
when we're
we
good
want.
and ready.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, I don't know. Like living in apartments most of my life at this point, it is also just like a thing of space. Like, where am I just gonna keep it? I don't know. You live in paycheck to paycheck. You're in an apartment. You're like, can I just like actually put money towards this to lose space in my apartment to something that might save my life?
Right.
And the answer should be yes, but it's just like anything, like when you're in a shitty financial situation and you always hear like, don't get credit cards, don't get a credit card. Oops, I got a credit card. Because you're in that moment, and when you're in that place, it's like, yeah, I just don't have space. And now I do,
Yeah.
so I'm like, I should, just in the garage, I should get together a little kit.
Yeah. It is something that like I should do. And have again, like I've had a little bit of a stash. It just kind of withers away, and I'm not good about re-upping.
Who's not got, like, you've got to get shitty, very healthy granola bars or something like that.
Yes, which are disgusting. It's like I'd rather die.
But something like 90% of, maybe more, 99% of granola bars in the world are so fucking sweetened up and sugary that they're basically candy bars. And I'm going to eat them.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as putting like a box of Cliff Bars aside.
Mm-hmm.
I will eat at least one a day.
That's my issue with the Quest bars. I have
They're
at least
good.
one a day.
Kind bars. They're kind of good.
Yeah. What? I'm gonna get trapped in my apartment, and you expect me to chow down on, apologies to this brand if you like it, but those disgusting Nature Valley bars.
I do like Nature Valley bars.
I find them so gross.
Well, there you go. There's your bar. You get a case of Nature Valley bars, and you'll be thriving. not eating them. No, the oats and honey. I mean, they're the crunch. It makes a mess, but God, I love that taste. Nature's Valley, valet that bar into my mouth.
Do you think a Nature Valley bar would be good dipped in Hidden Valley ranch dressing?
Yes. No, that sounds kind of disgusting. But when you said Nature's Valley bar dipped, I was like, yes,
Sure.
sold.
Yeah.
I'm thinking fudge.
Yeah.
Not hard fudge. I don't like that shit. I'm thinking hot fudge. I'm not going to dip it into hard fudge. What's this episode about again?
This episode's about earthquakes, which I think would happen in your bathroom if you were to eat a Hidden Valley covered Nature Valley bar.
Hidden Valley covered Nature Valley. Nature's Valley? Nature Valley? Is this important?
I don't
know. So another part of this, as always, we love to, or I guess I just love to bring this up, probably too much. Asleep in the buff.
Yes. Yeah, you do love to bring that up.
I'm an audio exhibitionist. But that comes up. Jocelyn is brought
I bet
up
it does. Yeah.
Oh boy. She's brought up the point that, like, but what if there's like a big earthquake or something? What if the building starts falling down? What if we have to run outside?
Yeah.
What then? Like, okay, I gotta think. Because optimistically, my bathrobe would be right there. I could grab that, or a towel, or I could just grab some clothes on the way out.
Sure.
But in really embracing this scenario, I wouldn't have time to do that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's easy to say from a distance.
A distance.
That I would just go outside.
Yeah. Well, and you'd always be pointing north, right?
That's how I add to the team in this post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
Where a bad earthquake took us all out. California floated off into the ocean.
This is our team. He's a hunter. She's great at making clothes. And Evan, his is always pointing north.
Now that we've broken off from the rest of the country, does anyone need to know where north is? No, we have the North Star.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone would need
you do
that.
Once again, Gavin Newsom would say Evan Cox is expendable.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of it. Gavin might know I sleep naked.
Yeah, he might.
Like, we don't need that.
That segues a little bit into something I wanted to bring up very briefly.
My God.
Some people, because of course, facts, it's way more fun to refuse to believe them and just make up whatever shit you want.
Yeah.
Do you believe that it's possible that the government is the one causing earthquakes in order to either create a scenario where they have to come in and be the hero, or in an attempt to take out groups of people they don't like? Do you think that's possible, or do you think that it's tectonic plates?
I do not think that's possible. I think it's tectonic plates.
With the exceptions of things like, I'm not talking about like the government's greed for fracking then causing shaking of the earth. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about targeted attacks.
If they were in control of earthquakes, the end result would be to make money.
Yes, correct.
So I cannot abide by this conspiracy theory where they're just trying to go like, oh, we're the heroes. Nah, they're not interested in being heroes.
Nope.
They want to be rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have heard more earthquake conspiracies. I have not. I'm unfamiliar. I know there's old timey explanations for what an earthquake is.
What are they?
I don't know if this has any roots in reality, but what came to my mind
What
is
else is a podcast for?
there's a giant turtle in the center of the earth, and sometimes it wakes up and has to shake its shell off. Not off,
right.
but there's some
I want to
dirt.
shake his shell off.
Ninja Turtles face off.
Yeah. They just switch bandanas.
Because their faces look the same. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
I like it.
No, guys, I'm Raphael. I know I have the purple bandana, but Donatello took mine.
Donatello,
you gotta believe me.
I mean, he is the tech guy.
He is. Cowabunga. Anyway, you know what else I want even more than a Ninja Turtles face-off?
What's that?
Is for you to listen to this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, HowDoWeHuman.com. I want you to rate and review and comment and subscribe and follow and do all those wonderful things. All of these things help boost us in the algorithm so that things like us saying that a turtle is inside the earth, then that's what causes earthquakes. Things like this are being shared on the most popular podcasts imaginable without a hint of irony. And I think that we should be up there instead. So help us get there, baby. You can also check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Instagram at HowDoWeHuman.
You got that.
You did it.
You did it. You got it for us.
You can also check us out on Facebook at HowDoWeHuman.
I don't think we're ready for that handle.
Watch the full video episode. You know, Evan and I, this is a Wednesday. On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Evan and I are both in pink, like the meanest girls, the titular mean girls. Chris Binning and Evan Cox.
That's us.
You can check that out on YouTube at HowDoWeHuman.
Oh, I forgot I had to say something here. So,
he's shaking like an earthquake.
YouTube.
You can leave us a voicemail at 323-657-9896.
Ooh, I forgot to check it. I forgot to check the voicemail.
You can also send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
The best part of that handle is that we're unaddressed.
Yeah, that's true. Anything in that voicemail, Evan?
Nope.
Of course not. Let's check
It's
out...
almost time to shut it down.
Trivia. You know, the trivia is getting more and more stressful for me personally as
I bet.
as Evan closes in, could for the first time take the lead at any moment.
That would be sweet.
You know, I can only rest assured knowing that if I lose after having been in the lead the entire time, that I could call myself something of an Olympian. Choking in the final stretch. Anyway, let's take a look. Let's see. As a reminder, the scores are Chris with 77 points, Evan with 74 points, And Dustin
Thrilling.
still has his 4 points.
Heart of a champion.
How you feeling, Evan? You know, I've said that I'm nervous. How are you feeling as we head into these 5
I
questions?
feel good. I am feeling Dustin breathing down my neck.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's coming. Yeah, I feel good right now. I don't know. But granted, I did say, and it's true, I'm wildly underslept today.
Okay.
So it might work against me, but maybe it clears my head. Who knows?
Sure,
Maybe
let's
I should
find
sleep
out.
less.
Question number 1. What day of the week do the Bengals wish it was in Manic Monday?
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, Friday, or Wednesday?
Okay. It's like I'm so sure I know the answer that I'm doubting myself.
Yeah, this is the most confident I've been in a long time.
Okay, so if we're both confident, we just gotta say it. I'm going Sunday.
I'm also going Sunday. I wish that's my fun day, I believe is the
Yes.
rhyme to that. All right, we both get that
We've
point.
done it. For which brand was Michael Jackson shooting a commercial for when his hair caught on fire? Procter and Gamble or Pepsi? Xerox or Kraft? And by Kraft, I mean Kraft. I know the answer to this question.
I don't.
So don't fuck
I'm
up.
leaning in a specific direction, but
Oh boy.
I am doubting myself. But I'm going to lock in the answer Pepsi.
The answer is Pepsi.
Okay. All right.
bastard.
We both get that one correct as well. Question number 3. Limnology is the study of what? Freckles, citruses, inland waters, or fluorescent light?
Limnology.
These are like 4 things that could not be more different.
Yeah, I've got to guess. I'm going first thought, best thought. Anytime it's something like this, I'm trying to trace the word down to some other form of a word. I'm going with fluorescent light.
That's also my first thought. Certain light bulbs they're measured in lumens. So is lumen close enough to lim in limnology? The other thing, my second guess, I'll say, I'm gonna go with fluorescent light, but I like to cover my bases when we do these trivia things so that people know I might not be completely stupid when I get it wrong. My second guess is citruses.
Okay.
Because I believe a lime is a citrus, and lime has those same first 3 letters. L-I-M.
Yeah, true.
But I'm
and
still
also,
going
if you put the lime in the
fluorescent light.
coconut.
Yeah.
You can drink a boat up.
It was inland waters. We both got that wrong.
Bullshit. Ooh. What was the name of the first English child born in the Americas? Wow. Roxanne.
Roxanne!
Eleanor Rigby. Or Sweet Virginia. That's Roxanne, Grace, Eleanor, or Virginia.
Yeah,
or Amazing Grace. Okay. Roxanne, Amazing Grace, Eleanor Rigby, or Sweet Virginia.
Man, that's a real... When you put it like that, that's a real good question.
What was the name of the first English child born in the Americas? So once America was founded, they're saying like an English person left England, came to America.
Yeah, I believe this is one of the English settlers. What was the first child born?
Okay. So just the settlers themselves.
That's how I interpret this. Yeah. And weirdly, I'm now between 2 because of the songs that we did.
Also.
So otherwise, I was gonna lock in an answer with no hesitation. But now I'm torn, and I think I'm gonna go with what was my second choice. Are you leaning any particular way at this point?
I have it down to 2 in my head. And I just don't.
Which two?
Okay, I'm between the last two, Eleanor and Virginia.
Okay, I was between Virginia and Grace.
I'm gonna go Eleanor.
I'm gonna go Grace, and I'm gonna say that the song "Amazing Grace" is about that baby.
Oh, interesting.
It was Virginia, so we both hopped off the correct answer to go for something else.
I was like, because Virginia was, I think, the first, or one. It was one of the first colonies, but
Yes.
I think it was the first colony. I'm like, did they name this kid after a colony?
Yeah,
Madness.
or did they name the colony after the child? What virtue
That would be weird.
do the red stripes on the American flag stand for? Valor, compassion, justice, or wisdom?
This didn't come up in the Warriors of Virtue.
Okay. I've
got.
Hey, here's a problem. I didn't know that the different colors were for different virtues. I
distinctly
knew that there were 13
stripes
stripes for the 13 colonies.
As I was being indoctrinated into being a good American boy and listening to Lee Greenfield. Genuinely, I remember this being the same day.
Okay.
We listened to Proud to Be an American.
Well, at least learned about I'm free.
Betsy Ross.
Yeah.
And learned what each of the colors stands for. I don't remember, but maybe I've got the one that I think it is, and maybe that is somewhere in the back of my brain. I'm reaching back to elementary school.
Okay, here's my question.
Great.
Are all 3 of the colors on the flag a different virtue, or are only the stripes virtuous?
I believe it's all 3 colors.
Okay.
Red, white, and blue.
Okay. Well, you might be able to close in on the gap here, because I don't know this at all.
Hey, neither do I.
Okay. I'm crossing out compassion. I'm saying
let's get that out.
Let's get that out of here.
Easy loss.
I do not believe that
cannot be what this country was founded on.
I believe justice and wisdom are both represented on the flag.
Okay.
But which colors do I think that they're associated with? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to pick valor, and I'll explain my reasoning after you've locked in your choice.
I hate that because I'm going with valor.
Okay. Here's my reasoning.
You really threw me off there, but talking about justice and wisdom.
Yeah. Well, so this was a game time decision that I made to go valor, because I'm saying wisdom is the white color is wisdom because they both start with W. Mm-hmm. Then I'm picking blue is justice because of the thin blue line.
Thin blue line, baby.
And valor is then left for red. And perhaps, I haven't seen this movie, perhaps valor plays into the thin red line. I don't know.
Could be. I have seen that movie. I've seen the thin red line and the thin blue line.
You love those thin lines.
Yeah.
It was valor. We both get that correct. No change in the score gap. We both land on 3 correct answers out of those 5.
Pumping my fists and flexing to sing. Proud to be an American.
That
was me flexing.
That takes me up to 80 points, and Evan now at 77 points.
Man.
So
kept it together there.
Kept it together. No score change between the two of us.
Behind.
Still, could be a day where it could be, a complete leaderboard change at any moment. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for future episodes. We are playing to 100, and so we're getting close. This game, in theory, this race could be decided in 4 episodes from now. If
Wow.
I get every single question correct,
Wow. Wow.
the
Wow.
game could be over.
And hey, well, we'll see what happens. I'm going on a trip, and we're trying to record a few episodes early. But barring something going wrong, I will be seeing Dustin next weekend. We could record in person and see if he can catch up to us before we wrap. We'll see. Who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows?
I also just want to say, hey, I was listening to a podcast and they said something I don't remember us ever saying. They said, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Maybe that's going to make all the difference if we thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, those 5-star reviews are about to come pouring in.
That's
Thank
the
you.
floodgates. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
We're gonna keep thanking you until some reviews start coming in.
Sí, gracias, merci, merci.
Dankeschön.
Um,
Yeah, merci.
bye.
Bye.